Good evening. It's Monday, September 29th, and this is the meeting of the Southborough Planning Board. The Planning Board is now in session.
Testing. Good. Is it?
First item on the agenda.
Arnie, I did what you said and I just can't. I'm in here. Oh, there you go. Look, it says it right here. I'm sorry. We take notes. I'm just.
It's a public hearing, Richards Road and Killam Farm Lane, DPW crosswalk, scenic road, stone wall and tree removal.
I'll read the legal notice and then Alan will
Okay.
give his recusal. This is the public hearing notice for scenic road and tree removal and stone wall removal hearing. The Southborough Tree Warden and the Southborough Planning Board under MGL Chapter 87, Section 3 and MGL Chapter 40, Section 15C will conduct a consolidated public hearing with the Tree Warden on Monday, September 29th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the Southborough Townhouse, McAuliffe Hearing Room, 17 Common Street, and via Zoom to discuss the removal of 2 DPW requested trees and removal of approximately 10 feet of stone wall remnants located on Richards Road. The trees are both Norway maples and 18-inch in diameter. Those who wish to watch or participate remotely may do so by accessing the meeting link at www.southboroughma.gov/674/virtual-meetings. Each tree is posted. A complete list of the proposed tree removal location, species, size, and pictures can also be found at www.southboroughma.gov/266. Christopher Leroy, Tree Warden. Mimi Luttrell, Planning Board Chair. This ad was run on Sunday, September 21st, 2025, and Monday, September 22nd, 2025. In accordance with MGL requirements.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to recuse myself from this agenda item.
So welcome, Mr. Leroy and Mr. Cundiff, if you'd like to kick us off.
Thank you.
Chris, I don't know if you have to say anything before I get going.
Just that this is a joint hearing between the planning board and the tree warden for these 2 trees on Richards and Killam Farm Lane.
Okay. Karina, can I have, oh, here we go, share. Sorry. I need access to share my screen.
Colleen's working on it.
Perfect. So the town is in the process of installing a number of crosswalks in town that have the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, also called RRFBs. One of the locations in particular is located on Richards Road at the intersection with Moulton and Killam Farms Road. So here we have a map of Southborough. This is 495 on the left, Interstate 90 going here across left to right. And as I zoom in, the location is here. This is the Finn School over here on the left, and Corderville Road is over here on the right. The location is at Killam Farm, Moulton, and Richards. So if I take my little guy and drop him in, this is going to give us a live view of what's out there today. So if you were to go out there today, this is pretty close to the view that you'd see out there today. The 2 trees we're looking at removing are this one on the right and this first one on the left. So the first tree that you see on the left and the first tree you see on the right. These sparse stones that are lying along the ground are part of the original stone wall. We plan to remove all of those as that's all within the right of way. And in order to meet the new ProAg standards for the sidewalks, we have to go right up to the base of the wall with the new sidewalk. Just to give you a view of what the area used to look like in 2011. So teleport back in time, you'll see that wall was not constructed, and this is the part of the original stone wall that existed, and they did leave some remnants, which is what we see today. So those remnants are from the original stone wall. So to give you an overview of what we're planning on doing, I have this plan. Again, Killam Farms up at the top, Moulton's at the bottom, and Richards Road is going left to right. The two trees that we were just pointing out, one is to the lower left, where that number 1 is, near the crosswalk, and the next one is over in the upper right, close to the number 3. So those two trees will have to be removed along with the stone wall remnants in order to put this crossing in. Since I've been here, I've got numerous calls for this particular intersection from residents about it being a safety concern with regard to sight distance. It is a travel way for pedestrians to get to and from school. This was one of the candidate locations. We thought it'd be a good thing to have the crosswalk with the flashing beacon at this location. So with that, that's really my presentation. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Houlihan.
Thank you, Bill and Chris, for being with us. Obviously, the other side of the road has the electrical pole, so you can't do that either. So I understand this location. Have you thought about that tree is looks like a very healthy, very big tree. Is there any mitigation or a plan to put funds someplace or plant a tree someplace?
The DPW does regularly plant trees. I know Chris and I have identified a few locations. We put one in on Main Street this year, and I know up at the DPW we planted a tree. Granted, it's not a street tree in that one case, but the first case was along Main Street adjacent to the right of way. But with the number of trees we have along most of the roads, it's somewhat difficult to locate candidate locations. I would encourage the planning board and the tree warden to work together to come up with a planting plan, and certainly it'd go a long way towards perhaps a mitigation when we do take trees.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think planting in the right of way is a great idea, considering our weather patterns. And what happens with the street heaves. So if there is an opportunity for us to plant a tree, even in the town center or something, to try and preserve, or at least, contribute back to the 2 trees we're removing, I think we should do that. So if the plan is for the planning board and Chris to kind of work together for a planning mitigation plan, I think we do that. But otherwise, I have no other questions. It's pretty straightforward to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Maria.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Chris. Thanks for the presentation. I'm just really grateful that you came to us before doing the work. I think I might have an action to follow up with you, Chris. I'm not sure, but I think from previous meetings, just on tree inventory and other things. So maybe we can get that conversation going again with the planning board. I do have a question on sidewalk and the sidewalks that are going right up to stone walls. Some areas in town, we've got like a strip of grass. And I'm just wondering, is there a standard that you're using? Or it doesn't look very wide in this area in particular, but is it a standard that the sidewalk go up to the wall, or could there be some space for green space?
So in this particular case, and I know what you're speaking more generally, I think. But in this particular case, first we'll take that. You'll notice you can't see it really well on this plan, but I'll zoom in so perhaps we can see it. You'll notice that this PL with the dashed line that rounds up here, that's the property line location. So you'll notice that that existing wall, the one that's really well built, is well within the town right of way, the town layout. So it looks like we do have maybe a foot between the back of the sidewalk and the wall, but certainly we're going to clear right up to the edge of the wall. That will provide some green space. Granted, it's narrow in this particular case. On the south side, we don't have that luxury. We're right up against the wall that's there. Generally, I agree with you. Having a uniform cross section is ideal. However, on these old town layouts where you have variable width and the property boundaries meander back and forth, it's tough to maintain a uniform easement short of taking land from abutters for an easement to get that green space. And to that end, I'm not sure that there's a lot of value in that.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness. Thanks.
Ms. Braccio?
Thank you. Good evening, Bill. Good evening, Chris. Some of my questions have been answered. Can I just ask, what is the intent of the old stones from the stone wall? There's a tremendous value in those, and I just wondered if you had a plan to, there's a ton of crumbling stone walls on the right-of-ways all around town. If you're planning to repurpose those within some of these older stone walls?
There was no designated intent to do anything with the stone wall. The contractor that would be doing the work would technically own the rocks as part of the contract. We could certainly request them to be retained. I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem if we sent a DPW truck down there one day when he pulled them out and he loaded them up in the truck. I don't think that'd be a problem.
Okay, thank you. I mean, it doesn't appear that there's that many stones, and I appreciate very much the street view that you showed. It actually answered a couple of my questions as well. So that would be great if again, I think there's a tremendous value in those stones. Can you just take a second, Bill, on the south side? I know that they're now ADA compliant sidewalks. What does that mean? Does that mean the sidewalks are a little bit wider? I'm just trying to figure out why we're now going up to the stone wall on the south side, which currently there's a little bit of gap because that's where the tree is.
You're correct. The requirements for sidewalk width have changed over the years. And most recently, the standard is what's called PROWAG, PROWAG. Don't ask me to tell you what it stands for. This is from the engineers. And it's a higher bar that we're expected to maintain. Just to illustrate, even the most recent project we had that Mass DOT did on Main Street, those sidewalks don't meet the new standard, even though they just installed them. So, it's a moving target. We do our best to comply with that standard. Certainly when new projects come up, we do what we can to meet the requirements, but it is a moving target.
Great, thank you. And just one last, it's more of a comment, and it kind of touches on what Marnie said. One of the things I'd written down is we continue to lose trees with National Grid and whatnot. So it would be great to put some type of replacement program together. And we've talked a lot about it. So maybe that's something in the coming year we can work towards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll pick up where Lisa left off. When we met with National Grid their last time in their maintenance program and they were removing a ton of trees, they seemed amenable to providing replacement trees. Have they honored that, or has there been any discussion on that?
Yeah, I think Chris would know better on that.
So National Grid planted 3 trees for us this spring up behind the transfer station, some white oaks. So they have donated 3 trees so far from that last round of hearings we had when they took down a bunch of trees.
Okay. That sidewalk, did the town remove and replace that sidewalk? Not the sidewalk, the stone wall?
No, the resident did. To my knowledge, the resident did. It happened before I worked here, but I expect that wall was built by the resident.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand why they need to be removed. The one by Killam Farm, it looks like National Grid has done a lot of pruning on it. It has like no branches on the tree side, on the street side. And then the other one on the other side, on the Molten side, I don't even know how that's growing out of that stone wall. I mean, I've tried to plant trees that I've taken such good care of and the best soil and all the water, and they die, and then this is growing right out of a stone wall. Kills me. And it should be noted they're both Norway maples, which are an invasive species, so I don't feel too bad about losing them. But I will note that we did get yeah, we did get a couple of emails this afternoon, and Karina will read them.
So, Chris, thanks for forwarding those today. We received a few emails. The first one is from Roxanne Modi, 11 Killam Farm Lane. I know there is a meeting tonight. I fully support the tree removal so we can get some relief from the speeders flying down Richards Road. Thanks, Roxanne Modi, in an email Monday, September 29th, 2025 at 2:39. Then we received another email via Chris, and this was from Linda David, who wrote, Linda David, hello, I live on the corner of Richards and Killam Farm Road, number 41 Richards. I support the removal of the 2 trees, which would allow the installation of the RRFBs and crosswalk. We deal with very high speedsters, and this is a school zone, and right at this intersection is a very busy crosswalk and bus stop. We need something done, as I have been emailing with William Cundiff for a few years now. I hope this will go through. Thank you, Linda. Email received at 2:22 p.m. today, September 29th. Then we also received a third email, and this is from Anne Marie Sampson. She doesn't indicate her address, but it says, hi, Mr. Leroy. I'm writing on behalf of the 2 maple trees on Richards Road. If they are not a hazard, I would object to their removal. I saw the signs on the trees and I just wanted to reach out. Thanks. Anne Marie Sampson. So, I believe the policy, well, MGL indicates that if there's one person who objects to a tree removal, either in writing, to the public hearing, that it gets elevated to the select board to.
Well,
So-
may I interject there? I'm not sure that's an objection. I think it's a statement indicating that if it's not a safety issue, then she wouldn't. If it's a safety issue, then she wouldn't object. I would argue that this is in fact a safety issue, given the site distance as well as the number of pedestrians that cross at this location.
She said safety issue, or she said.
She said that I'm writing on behalf of the 2 maple trees on Richard Road. If they are not a hazard, I would object to their removal. So she doesn't indicate imminent hazard. She just said hazard. Some may interchange hazard with, safety issues. I don't know, it's hard to interpret, but.
So I'll leave that to the tree warden. I think the planning board should take a vote on it, and if you feel comfortable that's not an objection, then that's up to you.
I make a motion to approve the tree removal and scenic road stone wall at Richards Road at Killam Farm Lane.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion I forgot to ask if anyone in the public has any comments? Or no hands? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
And Chris, do you want to vote on that?
Yes, I agree with the removal. It's a yes.
Okay.
Mimi, do we need to close the public hearing?
Oh, and we need to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for Richards Road at Killam Farm Lane, scenic road, stone wall, and tree removal.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Ratio, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Chris, you
Yes.
voting to close the public hearing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
So we'll prepare a short notice of decision for this that gets filed with the town clerk and provided back to the DPW. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Bill, Chris.
Welcome back, Mr. Belniak. The next item on the agenda is a discussion item, 118 Turnpike Road, Suite 101, Fresh Monkey minor site plan. Karina, you want to bring us up to date?
Hello.
Hi, so we received an application for minor site plan approval for a change of use for, I believe it's approximately 1,300 square feet in 118 Turnpike, the building that is an office building that's now slowly converting to various uses. That application didn't require, it's not a public hearing, so it doesn't require a butter notice unless there's something specific the planning board was concerned with. So an abutters notice, an abutters list was provided, although it wasn't necessary. The applicant is also has applied for a special permit for the change of use. the
Not
use-
just yet, Karina.
Not yet.
By October 1st.
By October
Yes.
1st, okay, that's right. So they'll be seeking a special permit for multiple uses that include, I imagine, uses by right in that zone,
Correct.
okay? Which is business highway.
Yes.
So the application included some information regarding parking. We received today a photo, image, or a rendering of a proposed sign that the applicant is will likely be seeking through building department. If it's non-compliant, it will also require a special permit from the ZBA with a report from the planning board for that meeting. And we were still awaiting some feedback from the Board of Health.
That's right. And I'll touch upon that. For the record, my name's George Bonan. I'm here on behalf of the property owner, David Ferris and Anna Ferris in this case, and the applicant. And on behalf of the applicant is Grace Lemby and her brother Patrice Conchu. Thank you. I didn't butcher it. They are the owners of Healthy Shakes LLC, which is a franchisee of Fresh Monkey. And Fresh Monkey is a protein shake, healthy life, healthy food concept business. And this would be Patrice and Grace's second location. They currently have one in Westboro, and they're doing very well. I'll tell you, I've had the pleasure of having one of their shakes, and their infamous monkey balls, which are chocolate covered peanut butter balls, and they're delicious. And they're looking to expand now into Southborough and into 118 Turnpike Road. It's a small space. It's relatively 1,300 square feet, as Karina had mentioned, and we're changing it from office use to restaurant use. And more specifically, in areas where it matters, it would be fast food restaurant use. And with that, Grace, would you like to say anything? Do you have anything to add at this point? No, that's it for now. So we'll turn to the board for any questions. Oh, actually,
Grace, can you spell your last name so for the recording?
L-E-M-B-E,
Lembe.
M-B-E.
Thank you.
before I do turn it to the board, I'll just quickly just chime in on the septic issue, the Title V issue. I hesitate to use the word issue. Just we're waiting for Mr. Costello to chime in and let us know if there's going to be any sort of adverse impact on the septic system. As soon as he responds, we'll forward it to the board or Karina, and that may call for another hearing unless the board today deems that it's not going to be an issue. I'm not a septic expert by any means, but by looking at the Title V guidelines, currently there's the space is being used as 1,300 square feet of office, and that would require roughly 99 gallons per day. Switching over to restaurant use, fast food restaurant use would increase it a bit, and it would bump it up to about 140 gallons a day, which is a very small change. But a change nonetheless, and I wanted to make the board aware. That's my interpretation of the Title V requirements. I'm sure Mr. Costello would probably opine to the same. And with that now, I'll turn to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be
We
back.
missed you. Ms. Houlihan.
Hi, welcome back. Grace, hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So first and foremost, thank you for bringing business to
Thank you.
Southborough. I'm really excited about it. I love protein shakes, so I'm very excited. And I've visited your establishment in Westboro
Thank
as
you.
well. Those monkey balls are ridiculous.
There you go.
So I'm not sure like how, anyway. In reviewing everything from my purview, everything seemed to kind of hit the mark. I think the condition for us for a minor site plan would just be the Board of Health approving that, but I had no questions and just excited that you chose to bring your business to Southborough, and glad Ferris Development is making that opportunity to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marty.
Mr. Maria.
Hi, Grace. Hi, Tony. But I had no questions. I thought the application was complete. I think it's a very great use for the space, and don't have any questions for you. So thank you again for bringing business to Southborough.
Thank you.
Ms. Braccio.
Good evening. Hi, Grace.
Hi.
Welcome. It's nice to
Thank
have you here. And
you.
again,
Thank
Attorney Bonham, to see you as well. Just a quick question. Is this next door to B-Tone?
No, there is a space in between B-Tone
There is.
and Fresh Monkey, which is yet to be filled.
Okay, I mean, that's a great location with that alone. That place is very busy. What are your hours? What are you thinking for hours? Again, this is a great opportunity to plug what you're going to be bringing in there, so.
Yeah, our hours is gonna be 7 to 7.
Okay, 7 to 7. And when are you looking to open once everything gets approved? What's your timeline?
I could probably speak to that a little
Okay.
more, as there's a construction aspect to it. We have to do the build out. I think we're hoping construction would probably begin maybe 2 months from today if everything goes according to plan. And I think it's going to be probably a small construction timeline, maybe a month or two. So I think maybe later this year, or earlier next year.
That's awesome. Grace, thank you so much and welcome to Southborough.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Belniak.
Thank you. Grace, welcome.
Thank you.
I don't have any issues with the plan. The packet looked pretty well complete. I only have one comment based on the septic discussion just a moment ago. I appreciate you calling out there is an increase, albeit a minor one. My only comment here is that there's likely a factor of safety built in for the septic for the entire site. So I think handling 40 more gallons per day is probably well within the sort of allowance for factor of safety they build. So while not a septic expert either, just commenting from a logical point of view and a civil engineer's point of view, I think is probably going to be fine. But obviously wait to see what others have to say.
Thank you. And Mr. Brownlight, can I just piggyback on one point? Although this use may show a small net increase, I believe we did actually show a net decrease with both the Back 9 facility and B-Tone, because they're exercise facilities. They don't use as much wastewater. So there might be a little offset in this situation.
Thank you. Welcome, Grace. My daughter was like lost her mind when she heard about this on Facebook. And congratulations to Ferris for being able to diversify this building. And it seems they're all complementary uses. Health
So,
and
yep.
protein shakes all seem to go together. My only question would be the parking
Yeah.
table.
Parking table would be forthcoming, and I'll be frank, I was planning on providing it because I have to apply for a special permit, as you know, with the zoning board, and I felt as though that was probably the better place to provide that information, as it came from the request came from Commissioner Novak. But I'm not sure if the the board plans on closing this tonight or not, but if they don't, I'll be happy to provide it at the next hearing, because I'll obviously have it by then, since we're applying for it by October 1st, the special permit. And that table will reflect the current occupancy of 118, and it'll show that, it'll show what uses are there, what businesses are there, what parking is legally required per the bylaw, and what we're providing. Obviously, this board is aware that we will have 344 spots available to us after the subdivision has occurred. Right now, we have 550, but that number is decreasing. We do have a variance that was approved along with the 40B that grants the 344 or says 344 parking spaces is sufficient for that lot. It doesn't mention any one use specifically, but I would say that regardless of use, the variance speaks to allowing the parking regardless. And yeah, we'll provide the table to this board if they choose not to close the hearing tonight. But if you choose not to close the hearing tonight, we'll provide it at the next hearing.
So because there are a bunch of different uses.
Yes.
So I'd like to see all the different calculations, and also 120, because they all share
Of
this,
course.
the
Yes.
same parking.
Mhm.
And was the parking variance contingent on the subdivision?
It was, yes. But as it stands right now, we do have 500, without the subdivision, we have about 550 spots.
Okay.
With the subdivision, we would have the variance in 344 spots.
So what, the subdivision's been approved, but do you
It has
need
been,
file
but it
it?
has not been recorded yet.
Okay.
We're just waiting to get a little further down the line before we record it. Because once we record that subdivision, many things are triggered, including like timeline to apply for, provide the zoning board with a final set of plans, which triggers when we can apply for a building permit, which will then trigger the donation. So we're just waiting to make sure we're at a point where we're ready to build it, or close to, until we file the record the subdivision.
Okay. I think the parking's probably fine, but I'd just like to see it. So I'd be comfortable with just having that be contingent upon this approval contingent upon seeing
Sure.
that.
And for what it's worth, Chair Luttrell, Commissioner Novak did email or respond to a thread, which I don't think was provided to you. It was, oh, it is
But
provided to you. Okay.
We get it all.
Okay, good, good. The one where he said he has visited the site. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. But and he suggested that a spreadsheet would be a
Correct.
good.
Yes. And I was going to provide it for the zoning board, because they have to assess, they're going to assess every use and what parking is going to be required per use. We're going to seek that every use is allowed, or every use that we currently are allowed to do by right, not need a site plan approval, or I should say,
Another site, special,
a
permit.
special permit. Exactly.
Site plan, you're
I
still
know.
coming here.
And I enjoy coming here. It's a great time. But yeah, so you've seen that. He has said it's adequate, but for the purposes of approval, we'll provide the board with a table showing who's in the spaces now and what parking is required by the zoning bylaw, and what we're offering.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Any other questions or comments?
Say, the hours of operation 7 to 7. The hours of operation are 7 to 7, 7 days a week?
Yes.
7, okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I've got one other question. if I
Sure.
could. Just for context or comparison, not that we need to compare, but for your Westboro location, can you tell us what the square footage is and how many parking spaces you have there?
I couldn't
you know?
speak to it, but
Okay.
I'm
I
not
didn't know
sure.
if you knew off the top of your head.
I'm not sure.
No? Okay.
Not sure that I can.
All right, that's fine. Because if you did and we looked at this, we could kind of mentally understand what we're looking at, but if you
Yeah.
don't, that's fine.
I
Well,
can't tell you.
There is a calculation in our
Yes.
bylaw.
And right now, I think we're required to, as an office, provide 4 or 5 spaces, and then as restaurant, it'll be 9.
Okay, thanks.
Should we also make a contingent on the Board of Health? Okay. So
I just want to see if anyone here has any questions or comments, anyone online? Okay, go ahead.
So I make a motion to approve the 118 Turnpike Road, Suite 101, Fresh Monkey minor site plan contingent on 2 items, which is a Board of Health approval and a parking lot use exhibit.
I second.
I would say parking space calculation too.
And parking as amended.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Belniak, yes.
Congratulations, I'll
Thank you.
draft that decision.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much. Can I share this to you guys?
I think it's my
please.
first time.
Can I share this?
Thank you. Thank you. You have enough?
thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a discussion item, subdivision rules and regulations update. Mr. Belniak.
Thank you. Since we last met, we've made some decent progress. Bill, Karina, and I have traded messages as well as using a discussion board where we can thread our discussions. We are currently looking at some items related to A&R, and then Bill had suggested, I'm not sure if he's still online. Okay. Bill had suggested that maybe we start looking at some subdivisions because we have some that can be reviewed compared to what we have. So just today, actually, we are trying to nail down a date and time to meet out in the field. I think right now we're planning for Friday sometime. And so we're going to go look at a subdivision, do some reading beforehand, and just really discuss in the field what we've got. So still moving along, not at quite the pace because Bill's got something like 110 other things going on too. So, but we're moving forward.
So is there like an edited version of the regulations or? Because I know I had given some input on A&R. I don't know if that went anywhere
we
or,
had started and then we stopped. And then when the topic of subdivisions came up, we just kind of paused on A&Rs for now. So
okay,
I did reach out to Bill about A&Rs in one of our discussion board threads because he shared what we have and I was asking some follow-on information. So we'll come back to that. We just, we're focusing on the subdivisions at the moment.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Thank
Okay,
you,
now I
Alan.
had one thing.
Yes.
So I'm in that
Mhm.
email chain
Yeah.
and the subdivisions, there's 6 of them listed. Do you want me to read these subdivisions we're looking at in case the planning board members have their own comments from historical issues at those
join us.
locations? Or we'll just handle that? Okay. Okay. You can individually come by too, and if you have any comments, because sometimes everyone has different historical information on it, like
Yeah.
the roots are bad here, or the grades were horrible here, or, there's a divided road and it didn't work, things like that.
Oh.
Thanks. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a discussion item, 55 and over housing bylaw update. Do we have anything else on that?
So just quickly, I have not worked on this at all. I'm not sure if we have any members on the call that have worked on this. And really, it's just because I've been focusing on the upcoming special town meeting and preparing for the ADU presentation to the town.
Yeah, perfect. I think we just left it on there so we don't forget about it, but just in case there was anything. No. Anyone else have any questions or comments on that? This is probably the same thing, industrial park, expanded uses. It's kind of on there so we don't forget about it after a special town meeting. We'll get back to it in earnest. The next item is a discussion item 355 Turnpike Road, possible letter to ZBA. I asked that this be on the planning board's agenda because they're going before the ZBA on October 15th for a special permit for more than one use on a lot. And they have a lot going on there. They haven't, the last site plan was in 1986, and I think they've changed a lot of uses since then and haven't gotten an updated modified site plan. It appears that the site plan from 1986 is out of compliance. So I just wondered if the board thought we should write a letter to the CBA. Ms. Houlihan.
I fully support that. Appreciate Karina sending some of that information last week to us. I would definitely support it. And then I guess we can discuss process afterwards.
Mr. Maria.
Mimi, I support it as well. In addition to the 4 maybe uses that Karina has outlined, with, I think Laura Davis had identified as well. I think there's possibly one more. So this site is also advertising as a light manufacturer. And I would ask that we take really strong measures against that. There's been some like noise complaints in the area. I've been notified. I haven't been able to, I haven't called the zoning enforcement officer or anything like that, but it's sort of nice that this is kind of brought to light right here. So just for the record, so Karina has identified that this company currently is New England Fences, so fence company, a granite company, showroom, which is Finest Granite, an exotic auto and spa detailing service, and I think it was mentioned there's an apartment on the second floor. And so also in addition, that granite company is actually advertising as a fabricator. And so I would ask that, sort of extreme measures be taken, because this is really a lot going on here. In addition to the fabrication where there's been complaints about noise, this past weekend, that auto spa, Exotic Auto, had a car show, which, sounds all very nice. Go get together and see some cars. But there was extreme noise in the neighborhood. I ended up calling on behalf of one of the neighbors, but there had already been a number of calls to the police. They acted very swiftly. And it was not just music, there was like loud music, but there was also like revving of engines that went on for like 4 hours. So I think really I'd be asking, in addition to, bringing this to the attention of the zoning board, but also I think that the zoning enforcement officer should take a look at what's going on down there.
Ms. Braccio.
Thank you. I also think that we should definitely be writing a letter. I first saw this when it came up at the select board meeting, and I think Mr. Bartolini at the time had also expressed that a lot of cars are being parked in Nan's, and that seems to be an issue too. So, yeah, he's personally seen that happen. So he mentioned it. So again, I definitely think we should be writing something. And as you said, if the site plan's out of compliance as well, then, that's an issue in itself. Thank you.
Mr. Beleniak.
Thank you. I don't have anything additional beyond what my fellow planning board members have shared.
All right. So in 1986, the uses were an apartment, auto repair, and limo service, and that's what the site plan was. And I am unsure if anything has been updated since then. In the letter to ZBA, they said that they've long been a used car sales there. I don't know if they have a Class 2 license for that, but that the site plan hasn't been updated with that use. Also, as Mr. Maria mentioned, their Facebook page on Finest Granite advertises fabrication that requires a special permit. I don't know if they got a special permit for that use. So there's a lot going on there. And my favorite subject, there's no landscaping there as was required in 1986. And there's far more landscaping required now. They're required to have landscaping 10 feet around all the property lines, which isn't there. So So other than, so the letter should include the required special permit for fabrication, the updated site plan for the uses, non-compliant site plan, non-compliant landscaping. Oh, it's unclear whether those fences are in the Mass DOT right away, too. In the picture that they showed, didn't have the fences there, but the last time I went by, they were there. Are they still there? I don't know how they disappeared from that picture. Okay. So do you want me to write a letter and hit on those points?
Yes, if you're offering.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
I want to just point out that I met with, the owner of Pratt's Automotive, who's the potential tenant. He may already have a lease, I'm not sure, for that 2,400 square foot addition that was part of the site plan in 1986. 2 bays used to be in the front of the building, and then they expanded to 4. They expanded the building in 1986 for the limo service. So now he wants to expand the automotive repair and have 4 bays in that 2,400 square foot building that reaches to the back. And he came in and we discussed requirements for planning as far as site plan requirements, so he's aware of that. Okay,
Karina, can I ask you one question?
sure.
So Pratt's Automotive has gone to the select board, I think twice now, for the Class 2 used car license.
Mhm.
But also there's something called, I think it's TJ's Auto or something that's affiliated with that site and appears to be sales. Do they have, is that an approved use? Is that an old approved use?
I think on the 1986 plan, the uses were the 2 garage bays with an associated office, the residential apartment on the 2nd floor, the limo service in the expanded 2,400 square foot building. There were 14 spaces for car sales on that plan in the parking calculation, but the license, Class 2 business license, Class 2 used car sales dealer's license runs with the business. So when the business changes, the new entity has to acquire their own Class 2 license. But I think the original plan, if you zoom into the top right corner, you'll see the parking calc. And in there, it's very funny how they used to do it. It was very kind of grayish, and it said 14 spaces for car dealership.
But it didn't list that as the uses on the lot. It said auto repair, limo, and apartment.
Yeah, just the parking calc itself said, and 14
Yeah.
spaces for car sales, for the storage of those cars. And I think that's why they had a fenced-in kind of a corral area to the back left, where they would store cars there too.
Oh, I thought the limos went there.
Maybe the limos did, but it was kind of strange. And the other thing is that they put a new septic in 2022 and repaved and graded according to Pratt's Automotive, and graded to improve the drainage to the existing catch basins in the parking lot. But I think in doing so, and it's not confirmed, they may have paved beyond the original paving limits to the back and lost the trees that were required as part of the site plan at the time. It's hard to tell. I haven't gone out there to the site, but I did inform this tenant, because he's not the owner, that, site plan would require an existing conditions plan that shows what is there now, so it could be compared in what he's proposing. And the proposal would include changes that have occurred since the approved site plan.
Any other comments? Anybody in the audience have a question or comment? Online? Okay. Oh, sure. We're going to take time to.
They're both at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Don't let me forget EDU. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing, proposed zoning amendment to add highway major retail to 174-2B definitions into use requiring a special permit under 174-8.6 Industrial Park District. You can
Lindy,
bring
hey,
us up to
Bob.
date, Karina.
So while everyone's joining, we've received version number 6.
Yes.
And that was distributed to the planning board members, to the ZBA chair and ZBA admin in order to distribute to the zoning board of appeals folks. It was also forwarded to town administrator and Andrew Tennington, the select board chair, and town council, Jay Talman. So everybody should have that version. It's also in a packet that's on the agenda site on the town website for the public to see, the newest version, which included your letter explaining and then the actual red line draft.
Thank you, Karina.
You're welcome.
Bob, would
Good
you like to
evening.
say something first?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yep,
I
welcome.
Well, I apologize. I'm sitting in a parking lot at a town meeting in another jurisdiction. But just to update the board, since the last meeting, we took time to look at some of the comments that were made, did some research, and have made some edits to the proposed warrant article with respect to major highway retail. And I think we addressed the issues that were raised over the prior hearings, but I'll defer to my partner, Christine Hung and Dennis McKenna, to walk through the changes. And again, my apologies for the poor video and the difficult audio perhaps. But Christine?
Yep. Good luck tonight, Bob. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, and members of the board. For the record, Christine Hung, attorney at Reamer and Bronstein. With me tonight, I have Dennis McKenna, senior partner at Reamer and Bronstein, and then Joe Zink from Atlantic Management. We appreciated the discussions and the comments from the planning board at the last meeting, and we took those comments and we revised our article, which has been provided to you tonight. Most notably, the revisions are that the planning board is the special permit granting authority, and 2, that we have identified the specific parcel. That was a comment raised at the last meeting. We vetted this with town council and he has approved this version of the warrant article. We feel that identifying this specific parcel also addresses a lot of the concerns that the board had with respect to it being in other parcels located in the IP zoning district. So where we have identified the parcel and we also have the other development criteria, really just hones in on the one parcel that we've identified by map and parcel number as of the date of town meeting. We feel that we have, and we hope that we have addressed all of the comments and the issues from the board. And we are looking forward to doing our public outreach with the community as we advance towards town meeting, which is just a short three weeks away. And one question that I had for the board was, what is your process in terms of closing the hearing to make a recommendation? Is it done once the language is agreed upon, or I'm just curious to know what that process is?
We usually leave the hearing open till the night of town meeting, and we'll write the report to present to town meeting on the 27th.
Okay, great. But we really don't have a presentation tonight other than we submitted our revised warrant article, but we're happy to answer any questions that the board may have. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
you.
may I add
Yes.
one point?
Sure.
One of the issues that we spent some time discussing and have made the changes to make the planning board the special permit granting authority. As we go back a number of meetings, it was discussed this is a special permit. And if you recall, at one of the first meetings that we were in attendance, we placed emphasis on the fact that the continuity of the process is critical because of the history that the participants on the municipal boards have. So by doing this, we feel that through the process, there'll be some continuity from zoning article through hopefully the granting of a special permit, so that there'll be a continuous exchange of ideas with the underlying rationale. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, may I just add one more thing? So that once this text is finalized, any other parcel that would like to be added to this highway major retail or any other changes would have to go back to town meeting to get a 2/3 vote. Thank you.
Correct. Ms. Houlihan.
While we're waiting, I'm just gonna say we received a couple of input emails. Okay, thank you. I was just pulling them out. Should I identify those? Okay.
Sure.
First off, the Atlantic Management Team may want to review the summary that was provided by the planning office as part of the warrant article. So you usually have the article and then we provide a summary of the intent of the article. You may want to just revisit that to make sure it is okay with how it's written from your perspective. And if you have any comment on it, let us know, because we'd have to update that too for the final.
Sure.
warrant.
When will that summary be provided?
It's in the current warrant on the
Okay,
town
I'll take a look.
website.
Okay.
Yeah, and Colleen can forward it to you. Right now, it basically reads, this article proposes to amend the town code, section 174-2.b, definitions with a new use defined as highway major retail, and to consider amending section 174-8.6 industrial park district to allow the use by special permit. Pretty generic.
Yeah, sounds okay right now, but I'll take a look at it in more detail. Thank you.
Okay, and then also, I had provided the Atlantic Management Team with some comments that Planning Board member Debbie DeMoria had discussed at the last meeting and gave some more details so that you may be able to understand some of those questions and incorporate if they were necessary. We also received an email from Shannon Boyce representing Capital Group Properties at 259 Turnpike Road. She's their permitting person and also an attorney, and they provided a letter. I think I forwarded it to the Atlantic Management Team outlining some concerns. Yes, and she's here as well. Possibly read her email if it's allowed. We also received an email. So we also distribute when an article is revised, we distribute it to the town departments again. And I did that on Friday when we got this. And we received one email back from Gene Novak. He's the building commissioner currently. And he had a couple of questions. And he said, does the zoning bylaw define fueling station? I could not find the definition. This will become important, especially now with the energy storage systems coming our way. So that was one. And other terms may need definitions as well, i.e. food service. Do we have strict definitions? So he looks at it from a very strict viewpoint of when you write something, everything should be defined. So it was some of those uses identified, fueling station or food service. Food for thought.
Thank you.
It helps him to make interpretations later
Definitely.
when it's clear. And that's what we received, unless there's something I missed.
I don't think so. So you received the letter from Capital Group
Yes.
We did.
claiming that the bylaw was illegal spot zoning. I don't know if you want to speak to that. I have comments on that also. But feel free.
We do, Madam Chair, if the if Capital Group wants to speak, or are you looking for us to address before they do, or how best you want to do? Yes, we agree with town council that this is not spot zoning. We can talk about it now, or I can defer until after it gets raised again, whatever your preference is.
You can talk about it now and maybe again.
So as the board knows, town council has already read the letter and said this is not spot zoning. In response to the letter, town council said that when town council was present at our last hearing before the planning board. The reason, among others, that it's not a spot zoning or why the term spot zoning is misused is, first of all, and not to get into the weeds of the letter, but the letter says what it says, and they're citing case law that's 50, 60, 70 years old. They're citing a 1944 case and a 1994 case. Virtually every time the appeals court in the Massachusetts SJC has ruled on this issue over the last 30 years, they have upheld the zoning bylaw, the zoning text amendment, and that is because every presumption is in favor of upholding zoning amendments and text amendments, particularly when it's part of a public hearing process. This is not a single board over a single night making decision to make a radical change. That's the first issue. The second is there is a heavy burden, and that's what the courts say, an extremely heavy burden for in this case, it would be Capital Group if they were to challenge the text amendment, an extreme burden for them to do so. Thirdly, this will only go forward if it's approved at town meeting. Again, that's a public process. And there's many cases that would uphold this, as Attorney Tallerman said in response to this. But basically, it comes down to if there is virtually any public benefit, or if there's any policy objective that arguably the amendment is in favor of or seeks to promote, that's a bullet to the spot zoning argument. Your objective in your master plan, your objective, one of them was to improve the diversity of commercial activity within the town. And then, of course, the goals were to develop an economically strong, diverse, self-sustaining business community. And recommendation ED 3.2 actually called out this site. And so it is beyond a doubt that even if you had the burden or we had the burden, we would carry the burden, but we do not. The challenger would have the burden. This, whatever you feel about this, you could not argue that it's arbitrary, it's capricious, it's well thought out if the town meeting approves it, and it promotes many, many objectives of the community, and it serves a public benefit. That's why it's not spot zoning.
Thank you. Ms. Houlihan.
Thank you very much. So I appreciate that. And I think in the last meeting, I had kept calling it spot zoning, and I would retract that because I think after doing some education and speaking, seeing some of the exchange back and forth and appreciating what it is that we're trying to do, I support the plan as written. So I thank you for making the amendments that we've discussed, and I think this very clearly identifies the parcel, which I think is one of the big components of what we were seeking. And I think this could very well meet our master plan objectives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Maria.
Hi and welcome. I want to say thank you as well. I think I've been one of the vocal voices to say that I really believe that the permitting authority should be the planning board, and not because we don't like our members on the other boards, but because it's site plan. And we have had a consultant in the past consult with us to say, there's things that you can do with your zoning, and streamlining the zoning is one of them. So this helps us actually, I think, meet that as well. Planning board is a future, is more involved with future zoning of the town as opposed to more, the other boards have other purviews, I'll just say. So thank you for adding that. I am happy with the additions that you made. And I think you took my language verbatim, which was taken from another part. I like consistency, so it matches with another section of our bylaw. So thank you again, and that's all I really have to say. I'm happy with the changes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ms. Braccio.
Thank you. Good evening. I will say I have learned more about spot zoning And I have read more about spot zoning in the last couple weeks. So again, it was a good learning curve for me. I also completely agree with you. I think our master plan is pretty clear. The only question I had on the article, I think it looks great, is we had talked about under D, excuse me, adding that the lot does not have access or ingress egress on a scenic road. That's the only possible thing that I
think
saw
that
in here.
changed. Yeah, I
Okay,
have no problem with that.
great, thank you.
Would
So,
want ingress and egress?
yes, okay. So instead of frontage, I don't think the frontage necessarily matters. So,
Can
that,
Make that change, that's
that's
the problem.
perfect. That's the only thing I had. I think it looks great and, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Belniak.
Thank you. I don't have much in addition to what my fellow planning board members have said. One general comment is looking through one of the email exchanges where Debbie, I think you commented that this is version 6 and you put an exclamation point. While one might mean that's incredible, one might also interpret that as to be 6 factorial. That's what it feels like. But more of an illustration that it just shows that this is obviously important to our town. We've got some opinions on it. And in my opinion, I felt that you all have been receptive to looking at that, addressing it, coming back with another approach. So more just want to thank you for the collaboration. And other than that, I don't have anything else to offer up than what's already been said.
Thank you. To speak to the planning board as the special permit granting authority, as Mr. Maria had referred to, this will most definitely require a site plan. And we've heard many things throughout the years of streamlining permitting and being more friendly to business. So if we were the special permit granting authority, it could be one consolidated hearing, one legal ad under us. Otherwise, it would be legal ads at ZBA, planning board, hearing ZBA, planning board. So that was the thought there. All of our recent bylaw updates have had, most of them have had the planning board be the special permit granting authority for that reason. So I just want to make sure the rest of the board agrees with that. It has nothing to do with, yes, sir.
Just one question to clarify, because I'm still within my 1-year new guy status. So typically when the ZBA is the special permit granting authority, planning board will submit an opinion or a letter. ZBA is required to listen to it, but not necessarily abide by it, because that's how it is. When we flip the roles around, if with the planning board being the special permit granting authority, do we solicit or accept comments from other sort of departments or committees in town to, in the same vein that, okay. Thank you.
Yes. So I just wanted to make clear that was the reason for that. I see we have an esteemed ZBA member here. So she may have a comment on that. The other question I had for the board, advisory is meeting via Zoom tomorrow night, and I got a email from the chair asking if we wanted to attend, but this was prior to receiving this updated bylaw. So I said, I don't know if we have anything to add. I don't know if you would like to go or like someone to go to have any discussion. I think that someone from Atlantic is going to the advisory. Did I say ZBA? I meant advisory. Oh, okay. So I don't know what the planning board thinks about.
Yes.
Did they also ask for ADU or just specific to this?
Specific to this, they're discussing this tomorrow.
Um,
But she's, the new chair, Marcy Jones, said that they will have other meetings heading up to the town meeting if would rather attend those.
I think we should have representation if we asked if one of us can go. I don't think it's a bad thing.
They didn't ask for this meeting though, correct?
Well, so she originally asked for tomorrow, but at that time I said, we don't have anything to add because we haven't received a new bylaw. But I don't know if this stage, if we have anything to add or if we should wait for a later meeting. I mean, I'd be happy to go and see if there are any questions from a planning board perspective tomorrow, if the board's okay with that.
Well, maybe we finish up this agenda item and then have that, because I think if, no matter what happens, it probably would be prudent to advise or to speak to advisory, to share with them the latest updates when we spoke about what they do with it is up to them, but I think this is very fresh information, so.
Yeah, well, I said that I would update her on this meeting.
Okay.
After, but I'll also attend tomorrow if there are any specific questions.
Mimi, and that's Marcy Jones,
Yes.
the chair, I believe. she's
chair of
in the
advisory.
attendees. I don't know if you'd want to ask her if she is interested in saying anything. Or, she looks like, I think that's Marcy.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Here we go.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening. Yes, you're not on our agenda as a joint meeting, but if a member wanted to come and certainly provide some input in discussion, that would be helpful. Atlantic will be speaking with us tomorrow night, and we will have most likely another meeting before town meeting. So we did want to extend tomorrow night to someone to join, and I have heard the updates from tonight, so we appreciate the information.
Thank you, Marcy. I think you're stuck with me tomorrow.
Okay, we'll chat then. Thank you. Have a good night.
And thank you for addressing all of our comments. That was very helpful. And as Ms. Braccio mentioned, if we could just change that frontage to ingress egress, I'm good.
Yeah, that's
Madam
not-
Chair?
That's not a problem. That's agreeable.
It will be version 7.
Madam Chair, before I leave, I have to go into another public
Sure.
hearing. A couple things. I know someone made the comment it was the 6th version. I think that is a testament to the collaborative nature of how this is supposed to work. Our public hearing is to dissect the issue and come together collaboratively. And what you said in terms of the efficiency of the process by having the planning board as a special permit granting authority is almost verbatim what we talked about internally, so that we could have a continuum between the submission of the article, the adoption of the article, hopefully a town meeting if we are lucky, and then the joint site plan special permit, because then you don't have the ping pong effect where you're bouncing from board to board making changes. So it was a very good collaborative process, and this is how it should work. So thank you.
Thank you very much
Mimi, can
for
I add one-
attending in the parking lot.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, just, I don't know if the process, let's say that, would it be helpful to going to advisory, for advisory to have an idea on where this board stands on the article? I mean, I'm not asking for a vote of anybody or anything like that, but if maybe just a general idea that, the board seems generally in support or something, I think that would be helpful going into advisory. Just a thought.
Yeah. Do you want to take a straw poll?
Yeah, quick question before we do that. This new version 7, we have to get this in before the 5th?
Yeah. Can we change those words like
Yeah.
right here?
Well,
I can get it to you
have it
first thing. I'll get it to
typewritten
Colleen and,
tomorrow.
yeah, I'll
Okay.
get it to Colleen and Karina first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay,
But we will adopt those words in place of,
frontage.
The frontage,
yes.
ingress, and
Ingress,
egress.
egress.
Mhm.
In a-
Go to read, the lot has ingress, egress to a scenic road?
Does not.
Does not.
Colleen-
Excuse me, does not.
Ingress and egress on a scenic road designated by the town as of October 27th, 2025.
Colleen, can you just put the article up just so people can see it? It's in the packet, but I do think it's important that we're clear that that's the language that would be going into the warrant article.
Madam Chair, while that comes up, I'm not sure if this is something we would require or maybe just be helpful, but in addition to making the changes like you're suggesting is to show the red line version and then just right below it, just a clean one with all of it accepted, just so it's easier to read. So this is good to see the comparison and the
Yep.
changes, and then a clean one to see
Sure, so I will do a red line and then a clean version.
if that's amenable to the rest of the board. I'm not trying to overstep my.
Whatever you say, Alan.
That's how we typically have been submitting.
So in D,
So is there anyone in the room that has a question or comment? Anyone, I see a hand up online.
Shannon Boyce from Capital Group Properties. has
Oh,
her-
wait, Ms. Cahill first. You got to go to the big podium.
Good evening, Doris Cahill, 29 Overlook Drive. I'm talking as a private citizen. I had a few questions, although I am a member of the Zoning Board of Appeal. I do appreciate the mini education. I'm going to go back and read a little bit more about spot zoning, but there's been quite a bit of discussion. So I appreciate that. And I certainly appreciate 6 versions or 7 versions to get it right. So the consideration is this, and I'm very much excited to see that we're going to get a retail use that can help the community, help our tax base. But then I'm thinking about town meeting, and it's just narrowing in on some language regarding the wide variety of businesses that are going to go in this zone and how that could possibly backfire possibly in town meeting, or the public not take kindly for the existing businesses. So I'm just going to cite a few examples. It's something to take into consideration when we do public outreach. So I believe we have 4 liquor stores in town at the minimum. I also think we have on the same side of Route 9 in Southborough, 2 repair auto shops. We have many small restaurants, and then we have a large gas station across the street. And we may start hearing from those people that may put them out of business. So that's my big comment. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, because when we go to town meeting, we know these questions come up and the public may not feel as though they've been heard on this, or these businesses may not be aware. Like I get a lot of great emails from you guys. So it's broad. It's meant to be broad. Another comment, and I'm not an economic development is my background, but I believe we've had a couple Stop and Shops shut down. I've also believe the Hanford shut down, and I think at least 2 CVSs, if not Walgreens, have shut down consistently in the area. So is it going to be successful? Is it going to be successful? I don't know. I know strip malls have had a lot of suffrage, and I know there's a lot of empty space on Route 9, so it's competitive. That's it. Somebody has a question about my question or wants to address it or had thought about it, because it's ultimately got to get the 2/3 vote. And we all know what happens when we don't get the 2/3 vote. It doesn't happen. So,
Right.
okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'd say a couple things. We have to be careful that this is a zoning bylaw, and it opens the door for some prospective retail there, but this isn't a project per se. The other thing is the other uses would require a special permit, and if there are many other small businesses that speak out against that.
No, I mean, I
special
100%
permit is
understand.
discretionary.
This it just opens up the wide variety of possibilities that we need, because the use of over time has changed. But in effect, when the permits come up, some people may not understand it in that light. So that's more where I'm coming from.
Right,
I
yep.
certainly get it. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay. And now Shannon?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you, Shannon? If you could just introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Shannon Boyce, permitting manager for Capital Group Properties. And I'm just online today to see if I should be reading our comment letter from the Residences at Park Central LLC into the agenda, or if your reference is all that it took to add this to the agenda. I can take a few moments to read it in.
That's up to you. We did discuss.
Yep, I heard the discussion. I was here. But I just don't know if I should be actually reading it into the agenda since.
Excuse me, Mimi,
wasn't-
isn't it in the
wa-
packet as well?
I didn't, I don't think I saw it.
No, it's not in.
I could have missed it.
That's up to you, Shannon. If you'd like to read it, that's
Okay.
fine.
Yep, I know they asked me to come and read it, so I'll read it. Thank you very much. All right, I'll start here. So writing on behalf of the Residences at Park Central LLC, owner of over 100 acres in the IP district, parcels 24-030, parcel 33040, and parcel 4104A. At the outset, we wish to acknowledge the board's efforts in exploring new economic development tools. We understand the appeal of a highway major retail use that could bring investment, jobs, and commercial tax revenue to Southborough, and we are generally in support of it. We were therefore interested to learn of the proposed amendment and undertook a careful review of its criteria, context, and likely district-wide effects. In short, we are concerned that the benefits of the zoning fit of one development and excluding all other parcels in the industrial park zoning district. The IP zoning district is comprised of 36 parcels with only one parcel meeting the criteria and the rest being excluded from the benefits of the proposal. Specifically, after applying each of the definitional filters to the parcels within the IP zone, the amendment does not operate as a neutral district-wide framework. Instead, this is a functional example of classic spot zoning because it effectively benefits one development proposal on one parcel. Accordingly, the application of this amendment to one parcel benefiting one development proposal appears to be an end run around the spot zoning argument. Exhibit A, which was the list of the parcels, and then we had the map where we noted where each parcel either qualified or disqualified. All of the parcels in the IP zone are eliminated by at least one disqualifying criteria: acreage, residential buffer, setback, or frontage, except for a single lot, 21 Cosland Drive. That parcel alone satisfies all the new filters, effectively making the sole beneficiary of the zoning amendment proposal. While neighboring parcels may experience incidental spillover benefits from the proposed abutter satellite retail allowance, the proposed zoning text itself is tailored so that only one owner can qualify for the primary use. In summary, the proposed article creates one new use, major IP by special permit. The definitional criteria include a minimum of 125,000 gross square feet in a single building, minimum 20-acre lot, which may be partially located in another jurisdiction, frontage on a public or private way that connects directly to Route 9, or a divided roadway containing a minimum of 2 travel lanes in each direction. No abutting or proximity, 500 feet to a residential district, 500-foot setback from Route 9 or divided roadway, and location within or adjacent to an office or industrial park environment. In short, these criteria screen out 35 out of 36 parcels, being most of the IP zone parcels, because they fail either the residential buffer rule or the Route 9 access test, even if they meet some of the other criteria. Small frontage parcels are excluded by acreage or adjacency. The result is that only 21 Cosland Drive qualifies because the draft uniquely allows a single lot that straddles into Westboro to count toward the abutting Southborough parcels aggregate their acreage to qualify. The structure creates a true diminishment of rights presently enjoyed under the Uniform IP framework. Today, all IP owners may pursue any listed use in the IP table under Chapter 174, subject to the same standards. If the proposed article passes, only one select parcel benefiting one development proposal effectively reaps the benefits of the proposed highway major retail use, while all others are permanently screened out by bespoke criteria. That is not an expansion of a district-wide opportunity. It is a narrowing of rights that benefits effectively a single owner and one development. It is also worthy to note that it appears the Highway Major Retail Zoning Amendment proposal specifically seeks to single out and exclude the Park Central parcels from these uses, which otherwise meet the criteria established. Massachusetts courts have long cautioned against this approach. In National Amusements versus Boston, 1990, the court struck down a rezoning proposal where the city arbitrarily singled out one tract without a district-wide planning basis. Similarly, Marblehead v. Rosenthal, 1944, recognized that selective treatment of a single lot is unlawful absent legitimate planning reasons. By contrast, in Cohen v. Lynn, 1956, the Supreme Judicial Court upheld rezoning because it applied to multiple parcels based on citywide planning evidence. The proposal before Southborough aligns with National Amusements, not Cohen. The highway major retail definition embeds parcel-specific filters, the Route 9 access, 20 acres, 500-foot buffer, etc., that only one parcel satisfies. That kind of selective tailoring violates the uniformity requirements under General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 4. See also SCIT Inc. v. Planning Board of Braintree, 1984, rejecting a bylaw that funneled all business district uses discretionary permits without neutral district-wide standards. Placement of the new highway major retail into 174 8.6C16, requiring a special permit, will not cure the defect. By statute, Chapter 40A, Section 9 requires that special permit provisions apply to specific types of uses within a district and rest on uniform articulated standards. A special permit overlay cannot salvage a definition that is exclusionary at the outset. The draft article collapses that distinction, converting what should be uniform eligibility into a parcel-specific entitlement. Beyond the legal infirmities, the policy implications are significant. A single retail campus with at minimum 125,000 gross square feet in a big box format, plus 50,000 gross square feet of satellite retail on abutters would add concentrated traffic to an already constrained network, while similarly situated parcels remain barred from comparable opportunities. If the town's objective is to manage high-trip generators, there are neutral district-wide tools available, such as traffic impact analysis thresholds, mitigation or signal warrant standards, LOSQ performance criteria, and site plan review triggers scaled to project impacts. These would apply fairly across the IP district and ensure the Attorney General can find a rational planning basis under Chapter 40A, Section 4. Indeed, several planning board members acknowledged at the September 15th, 2025 meeting that the proposal is rushed, drafted by private counsel, and lacks district-wide vetting. That admission underscores the absence of the planning rationale required to defend a parcel-specific zoning amendment. Any adopted amendment should meet the procedural standards of Chapter 40A, Section 5, and is subject to Attorney General review under Chapter 40, Section 32, where the AGC singling out without planning justification, disapproval, or remand is warranted. Courts have consistently emphasized that zoning amendments must serve a legitimate public planning purpose, not the private economic gain of a single landowner. As the Supreme Judicial Court explained in Leahy v. Inspector of Buildings of New Bedford in 1941, mere economic gain to the owner of a comparatively small area is not sufficient cause to involve an exercise of this amending power for the benefit of such owner. The appeals court likewise upheld amendments only where there was evidence of broader public benefit, such as increasing the tax base or expanding retail opportunities based on district-wide planning. Rando v. Town of North Attleboro, 1998. No such evidence has been offered here. Instead, the proposal was drafted by private counsel for a single proponent, lacks supporting studies, and has been advanced on a rush timeline without conventional planning techniques required to demonstrate validity. Again, see National Amusements, also Durand v. Superintendent of Public Buildings of Fall River, 1968. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the board revise the article with neutral district-wide standards, or at a minimum, continue the matter to develop planning findings necessary to satisfy Chapter 40A. Again, we feel the benefits of this worthy new economic development zoning amendment article should benefit a greater number of parcels in the IP zone and not apply effectively to one development. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. So I don't know if you were here, but the proponents' counsel did speak to that. I think there is a public purpose. All you have to do is look on Facebook and that will prove that. And these parcels were specifically called out in our master plan. Also, the supporting and complementary uses apply to anything that's abutting, including across the street. So would include more parcels. And we did follow 40A Section 5 as this is a noticed hearing. Any other questions or comments?
I make a motion to continue the public hearing to October 20th, 2025 at 7 PM for a proposed zoning amendment to add highway major retail to 174-2B.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we want to take a straw poll first? So I'm comfortable with the current code as is. Ms. Houlihan.
Yeah, I think the writing as is, I'm not ready to make a decision on how I will vote.
I'm comfortable with the additions that were added specifically, the planning board, as we talked about, and also the location.
I as well.
Same.
Okay. Is there a second to continue the
Okay,
hearing?
continue. I second.
You continued that to the 20th, right?
I did
At
at 7 PM.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Belniak, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thanks.
time and
And tomorrow.
I will, I'm gonna go home tonight and I'll do it so you'll have it first thing in your. in
Can you,
Present.
can you please copy
Awesome.
me?
Thank you.
Yes, I will copy, Madam Chair.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Could you
copy
please
Madam
copy
Chair.
me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Mr. Buckley.
Appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing. Proposed zoning amendment to amend language accessory dwelling units, EDU. And I think this is you, Ms. Houlihan.
Yeah, so I have drafted the presentation for town meeting. I thought I'd present it tonight and ask for your feedback. For members of the public, just a reminder, Article number 10 is to amend zoning bylaw, number 10 accessory dwelling unit, and it is primarily an administrative process. We heard loud and clear at the annual town meeting, we didn't want to change quite a bit on our bylaw, and instead we accepted the Mass General Law. Accepting Mass General Law created quite a bit of conflict in our current zoning. So this article aims to clean that zoning up, and I'll walk you through a little bit of what that is. Next slide. You've seen this before. This was presented at town meeting. What is an accessory dwelling unit? Just to remind the public, it's a self-contained housing unit which includes a kitchen, sleep, and sanitary facilities. It's on the same lot as a principal dwelling. It maintains a separate entrance, and it can come in many shapes and sizes. And these are just a couple of examples. Next slide. So why is Southborough amending its ADU bylaw? Southborough is administratively amending its bylaw to comply with state law approved on August 6, 2024. And this just shows you what that law was. If for those of you at annual town meeting, you may recall, we accepted that there. Our existing bylaw requires cleanup, as I mentioned in my introduction. And so here are just, can I count 7 bullet points what we're doing. So throughout the bylaw, we're replacing the term apartment with dwelling unit. We're removing the current definition and replacing that with the state definition of ADU, while retaining that no mobile home or travel trailer is included as an ADU. That is current in our law. We're removing it from the IP district, and that is a decision that there really doesn't need to be in the industrial zone. So we've removed it from the industrial zone, industrial park zone. We've added the state ADU by right requirements into all districts except IP, because again, we're removing it in that other bullet. We are retaining our current code, which allows people to build an ADU that doesn't meet the by right requirements, that exceeds the by right requirements. And that's our current code is that it's greater than 900 square feet, which is the current state ADU requirement. And refining that language to reflect gross floor area is greater than half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling or greater than 900 square feet. And we are retaining that in every of the districts. We're retaining incentives under the adaptive use of historic buildings. So there's really no change except for the changes that we make on definition of an apartment and a dwelling unit. And we've removed the cap on the percentage of number of ADUs that a town can have. We had it in our current code as 5%. No one actually tracked it anyway, but we know that housing is an issue, so we removed that entirely. So in the next set of slides, we'll just talk specifically about what this will do. So what will change in our town zoning? Passing this zoning bylaw will update the language to be in harmony with the states. It'll retain our citizens' rights to build an ADU with a special permit that exceed the state limits by right. So anybody who wants to build, a 1,200 square foot, they can still do so by applying for a special permit with the zoning board, and then provide clarity in the bylaw language. So the next series of 5 slides are pretty dense, and this is what I'd recommend that we provide as a handout for those people. So the first is just what I've tried to do in each of these is what the current outdated bylaw says, what our proposed states, and this is just the very specific language. So the definition is the first thing we talked about, what an accessory apartment is in our current, what we'll be replacing that as an accessory dwelling unit. And that again is state compliant. Next slide. Is the district. So we talked about where we'll need to amend language to remove the accessory apartments, but also allow the special permit greater than 900 square feet. So we will be doing that in the downtown district, the Residence A district, Residence B, Business Village, and the Highway Business District. Slide 8, which is the industrial park zone. We'll be removing that uses permitted by special permit for the accessory dwelling unit. And then we'll be adding for industrial district and special, the research, scientific, and professional district. So that just kind of shows you all the places in the code that need to change because again, we've adopted the Mass General Law. 9, I expect you all to be able to read this. All this really did was I'm just trying to show you that nothing's changed. So on the left on current, I've just literally struck the information that we were changing, which was again, accessory apartments to accessory dwelling units in compliance with Mass General Law. And part 4 on the current is the cap. So we've removed that in the proposed state law compliant. And then slide 10 is again, the adaptive reuse of historic buildings. That's already in our bylaw. All we're doing is amending the language. And the last slide is simply, please approve article number 10 so we can clean up our bylaw. Any questions?
Thank you, Marnie. Fabulous. Ms. DeMaria.
It's great. Thank you for taking this on, Marnie. I think it's very clear for people to understand. Thanks.
Yeah,
Ms. Brascio.
Thank you. I second that, Marnie. I think this was a ton of work and I really appreciate you taking the time and the energy to do it. And it is pretty straightforward. I don't know how anybody can question it. So thank you. Well, shouldn't say that, but.
Famous last word.
Mr. Belniak.
Echo, great job. A lot of information. It's thoughtfully laid out. So.
Yeah, thank you. It was great. And those slides look like a lot, but it's just little tweaks to make the law compliant with state law.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
So, I had received comments from Beth Mello several weeks ago regarding the sequence of the district changes in the warrant article and why the downtown district one is on the top. So if you go back to slide, like the district slide that we want to put in a handout. it shows 174, 8.12 first, and then it goes 8.2, 8.4, 8.5.
Right, because 8.12 comes before 8.2 in the E code.
Does it?
Yep,
Okay.
numerically, 1, then 2.
Okay, she
Yep.
was thinking, that's right.
Yep,
Okay,
that's the only reason why.
okay. And then second is we crafted a summary as well. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, if you're okay with that. Okay.
Would you please read that?
Sure. This article proposes to universally remove language for accessory apartment and replace with accessory dwelling unit. To remove the definition as written and replace with the state definition and adding no mobile home or travel trailer. To remove ADU use from the IP zoning district and add state ADU by right requirements into all other zoning districts. The purpose is to encourage the production of accessory dwelling units, ADUs, with the goal of increasing the production of housing to address statewide, local, and individual housing needs for households of all income levels and at all stages of life.
I think I'm fine with that. The only thing it's not explicit in that is that we're retaining residents' rights to build an ADU if they don't already have an ADU that exceeds the by right. So the size of gross feet and 900 square feet, just to make sure people understand that they still have an opportunity to build an ADU.
Retains the rights of ADUs over 900.
Yeah, yep.
Simple like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
ADUs over. And I'll add that before the final closing sentence.
Perfect. And I can review that before you submit it if you want.
Mimi, may I make a suggestion?
You may.
So because Marnie did such a spectacular job on this, I would suggest that we get this up as quickly as possible on the planning board's page, but also get it on the front page on the town website. You know, I'm trying to think of what they call it. Newsflash, thank you. And yeah, just start getting this out there, you know, as much as we can. So people have an opportunity to digest it instead of trying to learn about it at town meeting. Thank you.
My plan was also just to record a really quick, like TikTok style overview, post it on Facebook on Southborough Share and Care. And then maybe if we can get into Southborough Media, I don't know what the process is, but I can certainly inquire.
Just reach out to Terry. I'll
Okay.
share her contact information with you.
Perfect.
And then also you suggested a handout.
Yeah, so the handout would be basically the slides 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I think maybe we would print, you could literally do the whole presentation. Yeah, maybe I create a new slide for that and then just create a separate handout deck for you guys to print off. Because it gives very explicit, details for people to see that we're not trying to,
Like if you don't want to read the next 5 slides, here's what you need to know.
Yeah, just quickly summary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
I thought, for annual town meeting, I thought the town clerk posts some of these, the presentations, so maybe check with him. Is he gonna do that for special?
He does for annual.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are ready to go, it sounds like, so that would be great to put them there.
Awesome, Marnie. I will not be doing any TikToks ever. Not my generation. Any questions or comments from anyone in the audience who happens to be on the ZBA?
Doris Cahill, 29 Overlook Drive, asking the question as private citizen, although I'm a member of the ZBA. Could you just go back to the slide? So the special permitting, as it stands with this ADU bylaw change, will allow for an ADU up to, if there's none,
No limit up to, it's over 900 square feet.
if there's no limit.
No limit.
Well, it's the
Ultimately, with
same,
multi-tenant-
right.
well, it's
with many-
25% of the gross, gross floor
If
area,
you-
the
yeah.
same as it is now.
So nothing's changed in that.
No.
Because we're into discussions of that area at this point, maybe for spring town meeting. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll retain, it just basically says, I think if you recall, what we,
Historical, 35% on historical and.
in that adaptive historic reuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't have a historic district, but we
Well, we have
have
a
the
s-
adaptive reuse of historic buildings, which is good in any district.
Okay,
And that stays the same.
as it stands now.
Yes.
Okay.
So those were additional incentives in that bylaw to incent people to preserve historic buildings. So those are staying the same.
Sure. Okay.
But this will still bounce to zoning board and you will have your law, your requirements that you
Right,
have
so
to.
there, there's just been some internal discussions with, as to how to deal with the fact that it's 900 square feet and a half and the smaller oven when we have small homes, but it's just not on this particular warrant. That, then, there was another slide and striking the 5% rule is in this warrant.
Correct.
Okay, well, that took I'm really happy
Yep.
to see that go away.
Thank you.
At professional and a personal level, I couldn't quite figure. But that's it. So that helped me out. The deck is great. It's simple for me to understand it. And I think of, because it's really mostly administrative.
Yes.
100%.
With that one striking of that unfavorable 5%.
You got it.
confusion. Okay, great, great.
Awesome.
Yes, nice job. Thank
Which I don't think the town ever looked at until Lara came. Oh, was it you that asked?
you.
Well, good for you to read the bylaw. Who would have thought? Yes, sir.
Tim Woodland Road, just so you know that I'm awake.
Thank
Good.
you for that.
The dense slides at the end, if you want people to understand what's changed and what hasn't, I would strongly suggest using color or highlighting or something to make it, obvious, how small the changes are and where they are, because no one is going to see the bolding as it stands.
Thank you.
Do you have a preference in color?
Well, I should point out that about 10% of the
Colorblind.
population is colorblind, and that red and green are not
So not
particularly
red
good
or green.
choices.
Orange.
Anyone online have a question or comment?
7 attendees. No hands.
No hands. Anything else? We ready to move on?
I make a motion to continue the public hearing for proposed zoning amendment to amend language for accessory dwelling units ADU to October 20th, 2025 at 7:05 PM.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Brashio, yes.
Belniak, yes.
The next item on the agenda is public hearing. 2 East Main Street multifamily building major site plan approval and 2 East Main Street multifamily building special permit downtown district. Do you want to update us, Karina?
See what we're calling submission number 4, and for clarity, there was a submission number 3 that wasn't distributed fully. It went to the planning board for the meeting you were talking about, but it was kind of put on hold because you were going to make additional changes. So this is the submission that went to Fuss and O'Neill for review. So the scope and fee had been exhausted from the peer reviews prior. So we received a TA to continue supplemental peer review which is now the 8-unit multifamily building. It was sent to Fuss and O'Neill on Monday, September 22nd, for them to proceed, and they're working on reviewing that now. You're made aware that I kept Peter in the loop, let him know it went there, and we'll follow up with them during the week to get that as soon as possible so you can respond. I just want to see, the submission number 4 was submitted to the town departments for review, to the planning board for this evening's meeting. We had provided Peter with some hardscape, the illumination hardscape calculation spreadsheet, and also the handwritten notes from the last meeting, for you to work on. 1 second. And we've also prepared I just want to point out, I let Peter know too that the scale on the architectural plans was the wrong scale typed in. So it made it look like it was a 30-foot building by something. It says 1/4 inch to 1 inch. It's really 3/16 to 1 inch. So if you were scaling that because you were curious about the height and all that, it wouldn't have scaled. It might have been, if you noticed that. Colleen prepared a extension request, knowing that Fuss and O'Neill had not yet provided the supplemental peer review. And Peter wouldn't have had the opportunity to respond to any remaining comments. And that's where we're at.
Thank you, Karina. Welcome, Mr. Bemis.
Good evening.
Anything to add there?
I just would, I get the sense we're continuing until the 20th, so I, could have just done that, but I was hoping to try to get as many things out of the way as I can because I'd like to be done. I'd like to end this process. I think Fuss and O'Neill has everything they need. I think the plans are complete. I did add the landscaping that you asked for along Newton Street. So it's, if the board has any comments, I'd like to know them so that anything can be addressed between now and the 20th. I did bring my extension signed with me to the meeting. Just wasn't going to submit it ahead of time because I would like to be done. So I recognize that we have to wait for Fuss and O'Neill still. So as frustrating as that is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Houlihan.
Yeah, so now I feel like I've either lost track, but I had sent you a note back around the lighting, but I didn't see an update lighting, and you've used both LZ2 and LZ3.
Only because there was a contrast, because I was asking for a waiver. So the reason for putting them both there was basically publishing the criteria so that the waiver request would be better understood. I'll take it off if you want. And frankly, if you don't want to give the waiver, I'll just eliminate some lights. That's really what it's going to come down to, is that I'm telling you what I think the proper lighting level is for this facility to protect the pedestrian traffic that's going to be here in this residential use. If there's no pleasure to allow the waiver, then that's fine. I'll back into it because all I can do is eliminate lighting. There's no fixture I can get to make it be less. So we either just do that or we don't do that. And I only put the LZ3 there so you'd know what I think should have been considered or a criteria that was different. All I did was basically made a downtown district and you plugged in a number that was already somewhere else and no one thought about it. So I was trying to give you contrasting information, but I'll do whatever you tell me to do.
Yeah, I mean, just my own opinion, I think it's just confusing being on the plan itself, the LZ3, but I was completely in favor of you asking for a waiver because I absolutely agree. I think for pedestrian safety and for safety of the building and what you're putting there, I think it makes complete sense. And I would advocate to support that with the planning board. And it's a confusing number for me, for anybody like future planning board that look back on the site plan, it's just not clear. So I just think it created confusion. So I would just advocate for the waiver. Other than that, I think that was my primary feedback for you.
Can I just speak to that before we move on because of the topic? Were you going to submit a waiver request for that?
Yeah,
Because you mentioned you were going to
essentially
submit a waiver.
thought we had them all already with you, but.
No, I think that waiver was when it was still a multi.
Okay, I know we had that discussion
Yeah.
about why it had to be done again, but I'll put one in, sure.
Thanks, I just wanted to get at the same time.
Mr. Maria.
Hi, Peter. Good to see you. I'm all set tonight. I don't have any questions for you.
Great, thanks.
Ms. Brascio.
I have no questions either.
All right,
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks.
Mr. Belniak.
I don't think I'm able to.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Never mind. Yeah, my only concern was the lighting, because there is like a residence right behind there. So I suppose we could condition to look at it after a year or whatever. But you're the lighting expert.
Well, just the photometric plan that he submitted, which I don't think it came in the most recent submission.
Well, that's one of the comments I was gonna add, that I think when Peter and I
said
spoke
that
way
was
at the beginning, you had promised you would put the photometric plan into the plan set at some point, because initially it was just a 8.5 by 11 on a plan, on the application.
Right.
So you were eventually going to put that into the final set,
Okay.
which would
Well-
also include a table of the fixtures, so everything would be right there.
Right, and it didn't show a trespass, correct?
Right. I'll roll it in, what's just tossing it over is the building mounted lighting. So, we either illuminate around the building on its sides or we don't. So that's the issue, is that the parking lot lighting on its own stands on its own, it's fine. There's no issue there. That's where my closest residential receptors are. The main thing would be the lighting at the sidewalk in the parking lot in the back, or the sidewalk in the front. And we're up along East Main Street. So I would say that it seems to me to be suitable lighting for that location, but again, I'll leave it to your better judgment.
Yeah, my recollection on the photometric plan was that there was trespass, but it was in the public way. It wasn't in the residential area.
That was only up at the entrance.
Yeah. So I think we were pretty much okay with that. We just needed it in the plan.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So that was my second question. Is that the site lighting exhibit 2 that's referenced in the plan, but I couldn't find it?
It was the 11 by 17 that was provided earlier. So I'll just roll
Oh,
another
okay.
sheet into this and we'll make it a full size and add an exhibit sheet. Photometric exhibit sheet.
Yeah,
Okay.
to be part of the plan set,
Yep,
added to
yeah.
the table of contents on the cover. Or, well, you don't have a cover, but added to, yeah.
Yeah, I'll add it.
You know
There
what I
is, there is one.
So it's included in the endorsed
Okay.
plans. Planning.
And I think, thank you for the additional landscaping.
Okay. I was trying to find something that would work and then, be salt tolerant, so. And all most things aren't going to be, and you and I know there'll be a lot of salt there, unfortunately.
I have just a couple of comments, just so the board is aware. Okay, so we talked about the photometric plan. And the architectural plans, you're going to fix those.
I'll fix the scale, yeah.
And the architectural plan, I think, should also be included in the plan set, because this is the downtown district, which is a special permit for site plan as well. So one of the things is the design guidelines that speaks a lot about what happens architecturally. So, Peter, it's my opinion that it should be added into the, not just an exhibit on the side. To memorialize, the surface treatments, the whatever is required in the design guidelines. Okay.
Just to that note, so that the plan dates don't coincide with each other, so they'll be I'll just put a list of the sheets on the front page, and then they'll just be the architectural will be.
I'll call it out
labeled as
separate
such.
in the
Okay.
decision. I'll just make
Just
those.
letting you know,
It's a different.
they're not gonna line
That's
up.
okay. We try really hard, but sometimes you can't get them
Okay.
all the same date. I'm not sure there are height dimensions on the architectural plans. We just have to
Should have been.
scale it.
I'll
So
put them on.
I think you were going to add that on there. And the photometric plan should include a table of the fixtures, the quantities, like you presented on your smaller version.
Yeah, there'll be the, yeah.
So it's complete. I think that's it. Oh, your architectural plans, they didn't scale exactly to the footprint of the building. I think it was off by a foot or something. I don't know if that's super critical, because the architectural plans kind of set.
Architects
different-
frustrate me to no end. I can't tell you how many times I get drawings that even are scaled right, but they're not dimensioned right. So I have no idea what they do with their program. That's the one thing I've learned.
Yeah.
Is that they've got magic pencils and scales.
I mean, it was really close, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the waiver request
Yeah,
Like-
do the waiver.
Okay.
They don't need to be on the plan, right? Or do they have to be on?
No, you just need to provide
Okay.
what you're requesting a waiver from and the reason why, and then we put that in the decision as planning board grants it.
Okay, well, before you move to continue, I would just ask, maybe we could have a draft decision if we're gonna be out 3 weeks anyways. Just to try to be ready. I don't
That's-
know if I can get in the ground in 25 anyway, so it's really not gonna matter, but it'd be nice to kind of go into the season and try to get something put together though for a project.
Okay, you're number 5. So.
Number
we're-
5, there's that
we're-
many things in the
Yes.
queue?
So I'm trying, but I
Okay,
would make the best effort to get you a draft conditions prior to that, because
All
the
right.
front is usually boilerplate.
yeah,
It's just a lot going on.
okay. Well, if you want to.
Are there any other
I'll do all the
special conditions other than the usual stuff that you want included on that? Yeah, I can't think of any.
No, and I'll have the standard.
Yeah.
As I look through the notes, I took notes on conditions all
Okay.
along, so if there's anything that stands out. But the standard lighting, the standard landscaping, all successors have to, if they're going to do this project, have to
Hmm.
have, follow these. Any recording of the decisions with the site plans
Yeah.
attached. So standard stuff.
Okay.
Looks like we're getting there, Peter.
Yeah, I know. All right, well, like I said, I brought the extension with me. I just didn't want to give it to Colleen ahead of time. I wanted to make her sweat.
You did.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Oh, is there anyone in the audience or
Online.
on Zoom?
For attendees, no hands.
I'm going to go ahead and make that motion. I'm going to motion that we continue the public hearings for 2 East Main Street multifamily building major site plan approval and special permit downtown district to October 20th at 7:05 PM.
A second.
I have a-
Hold on, we just continued the ADU to 7:05?
Yeah, but this one says 7:05.
It's okay.
It would
Oh,
be-
okay.
it'd
Yeah,
be
Give
fine.
us a little flexibility.
You're not putting me behind too many other things at 7:05, so I'm all right. I might get on by 8.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brashear, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
We need to do the extension of, did you extend the action deadline? Okay.
I make a motion to extend the decision due dates for 2 East Main Street MSPA and SPDD extended to October 24th, 2025.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brashear, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Oh, yes.
The next item on the agenda, planners report.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So, the first order of business, right before the meeting, I emailed everybody a copy of the declaration of, restricted covenants for 26 Meadow Lane. I brought that here for signing because that was approved back on July 14th. There's been new ownership of that project. And, so we had made, at that planning board meeting, there were 3 revisions to be made to that declaration, which I made so that I wouldn't have to re-review it and sent it to the applicant team. And in the interim, there was a closing and it transferred from Mr. Putri to a LLC called Reservoir Meadows, which is Isaac Lowe, a local developer builder, and Bill Putri together as the manager. So I had him change the first paragraph to represent that they're the declarant now, that this new LLC is. And then I had the same revisions there. then we added the planning board signature page at the end, just like 28 Boston Road was several years ago. Some of you might remember that. So I brought that, so at the end, if you could sign it, I wanted you to be able to see it ahead of time, at least a little bit ahead of time. But it was basically approved at the July 14th meeting. So I'll pass that around. Okay. Just want to point out that the Tricentennial Committee is having a, what's the scoop with Tricentennial this Sunday, 9/28? I guess that's already gone. Sorry, I missed that one. They had the ice cream already. I think, Mimi, you wanted to talk a little bit about the Metro West Communications Engagement Project participation.
So I am the planning board rep on the Metro West Regional Collaborative, and they are doing a project on communications and engagement on how to reach people since, you know, the death of the local newspaper. Many municipalities have had a difficult time trying to engage people and notify people of things going on in town. So they're doing a project to find different ways of communication, and they're looking for 4 pilot communities to take part in the beginning stages of this project. And I was wondering if the board thought that Southborough should volunteer to be one of those.
I think we should. I think we're a great example of like just different generations and how people communicate, because I think it is really challenging. Be great to pilot, and we're small, right?
Yeah, I agree. I just want to add that earlier on in the year, I think it was February, Karina had sent something to Vanessa and myself to have a little kind of interview with somebody from MAPC who was collecting some information. I think it was maybe setting the groundwork for this. And actually, it was quite informative, and it was a lot about like everything that Southborough is doing to try to get the word out, to get people to town meeting. How do they find out about things without the newspaper? And I think one of the comments that we all came away with was we would be a good, you know, I think the person who interviewed with us said, you know, that Southborough would be a great town to, you know, it's really doing a lot. And he heard some things that he hadn't heard by speaking to some of the other communities. So I would agree. I think it's a good idea.
I as well. I think it's a great idea, Mimi, and I think Southborough isn't unique in facing these challenges, whether you're a bigger city or not. So I think from giving a small town perspective, I think would be very helpful. Thank you.
I don't have any additional comment.
Okay, so should I reach out to Vanessa? Like, would she be the point person? Okay, so I'll reach out to her, and then if she's okay with that, then I'll let the coordinators at the collaborative know that we're interested.
Actually, I'm sorry, I recant. I do have, would it be possible for us to, not that it would change our opinion, not that it would change our position, but to figure out who the other participant communities would be? I don't know how this.
So the next collaborative meeting is.
That's one in October in Arlington? No, that's in Naples.
No, it's after our next meeting. It might be the 23rd. Let me see. So yeah, it's October 23rd, which is why I wanted to bring it here now. So at that meeting, we'll find out who, like if 100 committees, well, there aren't 100 in the collaborative, but if many volunteer, we'll have to pull straws or something. We'll figure out then who the others are.
Okay. And then I don't know if we wanted to talk about the deck itself or the funding request that's mentioned on page 4, the $35,000.
So that was approved at our last meeting.
Okay.
35,000 for this project.
Okay,
at the last MWRC meeting.
Yeah.
that's why it didn't sound familiar. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good with that one? So the moderators meeting is scheduled for, Wednesday, October 8th at 6:30 at the senior center. Wednesday, October 8th, yes, at the senior center. We got a letter from Jim Hegarty saying the planning and select board are the only two sponsors of the 12 articles in the current warrant draft. This will be a small group. If you plan to show any presentations at the special town meeting, they must be emailed to both Jay Montijo and Jim Hegarty by October 20th. All presentations will be posted on the town meeting webpage. Also, if you plan to invite a non-resident to attend the meeting, please email Jim Hegarty with the person's name, employer, job title, and the reason they need to attend. If this person will make a presentation, please include that information. All this will be forwarded to the moderator for review. So I forgot to mention at, while the Atlantic management team was here, reminding them that they'll have to figure out the presentation with the select board. Maybe I can email them because we had initially discussed it a little bit. We weren't sure.
Maybe Mimi, when she sends you that information tomorrow or tonight, you can just respond and say, just a reminder, you need a presentation and figuring out who's presenting it.
Yeah, I don't, so I talked to Paul briefly because he was asking if we were proposing Article 1. I said it had changed in the warrant, and he was asking if I knew who was going to present. I said, I don't know, I thought Atlantic. He's like, oh, I don't know about that. So we'll have to, I mean, that's out of our, yeah. But are you planning on attending? Do you want me to go too? No? Okay. I just, on Article 1, although we're not proposing, just make sure that Paul realizes that before a zoning article can be voted on, the town meeting has to be presented with a report from the planning board.
Which we'll have a draft of at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents about the who would present Article 1. I concur. I just think from an optics perspective, having a developer propose it, because again, this is an article to change the zoning. It is not for a project, and that would send, in my opinion, the wrong message.
So
Right,
you said
but
you're
that's up to
for it
the-
or against it? Are you-
Against, that's up to the,
You're saying it's better not.
yeah.
I just.
I think the moderator is not enthusiastic about that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So Marnie, you're going to the moderators meeting at 6:30.
Yes, for Article number 10.
And to remind them that they need a report for Article number 1.
And I think we'll have a report for the ADU bylaw too. We usually have it.
Yeah,
for all.
but
It's
But
nice.
Marnie's doing that presentation,
Yeah.
so she can give the report and the presentation.
Right. And your presentation's in really good shape already. What do we have? Okay.
Karina, can I ask, is the report to town meeting something that the planning board sees in advance or is given verbally? I just can't recall.
I write it up and we just record your vote that day. And
Oh, yeah.
then Mimi will read it as the report.
Okay. Yeah, in the past, if there were.
Yeah, we usually put it together, the meeting that is right before town meeting. So on the 27th.
And usually it's very cursory. It's, identify the article, the intent, and then the planning board voted blah, 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 to support or not support. And you say support, and then it gets signed. Copy goes to Jim Hegarty at the meeting and then gets filed with the town clerk the next day too.
So that was the previous process, that it went to town clerk and he filed it and it was not seen on town meeting floor. Although Mass General Law requires in zoning updates that the planning board gives a report. And I've had to fight to get the report before, so just so we get that out there.
Quickly, we have the Division of Clean Energy Siting and Permitting. I'm not sure I mentioned it at the last meeting, but Mimi and I met with Stephen Mino, who is the regional coordinator for that division, with the required bylaws that are required for the town to adopt for energy storage system type projects, which are kind of like in a 40B way, that they'll be allowed to, Dover, right, I'm sorry, Dover, where they'll be allowed to be cited in any zone, most likely. So they're just working on the draft bylaws and regulations and all that, and they're putting out, I'm sending you emails of different meetings you can attend to understand it. It's kind of like the MBTA communities, but on a smaller scale, I believe, because it's a Dover aspect.
So it has to do with, I guess, the legislator passed a climate law, and this is part of that. And someone from the state has been meeting with municipalities to get their feedback on things they'd like to see in the regulations. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Okay, so that's that. Then, just be aware that there's a House Bill 2298 for site plan review, to add it to Mass General Law, like the special permit processes.
Is that one that's been kind of kicking around for a while?
Yeah.
So is it moving? Is that what you're saying?
The Mass Legislative Joint Committee on Housing will hold a hearing on the site plan review bill sponsored by Rep. Kristen Kastner on September 17th at 9 a.m. in Room A2. The bill, which codifies site plan review in Chapter 48, represents a revision of the legislation filed in the last session that was drafted by representatives of a number of organizations, including APA, MMA, MAPC, NAICP, MHP, and others. The text of H 2298 can be found. There's a link, and I think I sent you guys this email, so you can look back to September 8th, 2025. You should have an email, and you can, written testimony can be submitted via email. Additionally, a number of housing bills will be considered at the hearing. Details on the hearing can be found at, and there's a link, including links to all bills on the agenda. For anyone in the public's interested, they can contact us and we'll forward them this email.
So just for all our fans who watch planning board meetings, Mass General Law, Chapter 48 is the zoning law, Mass General Law, and site plan review is not currently part of the zoning law. So this is to add it to state law.
Yeah.
Although it's consistently been upheld in case law.
Unfortunately, we received feedback from 241, 245 Turnpike Road, which has the approved car condos project, and they won't be moving forward with that. I think they had trouble parking and fitting a septic in there with the size of the building and the location in the wetlands to the north. So we've been getting some inquiries here and there from adjacent business owners. I'll be meeting with them in a week or two to get some input. They want to find out, they want some guidance on what might be required for site plan. So that's the status.
They did commit to tearing the buildings down.
Yes, yeah, they have the big red X on them. They have to get all the permits where they cap all the utilities.
Yeah.
Oh,
Make
they have to-
everything
okay.
safe, make sure there's no asbestos.
Lice control. It's
anything
crazy.
Environmentally damaging in the building. So that gets all vetted before they can stir up the dust and everything. So, yeah,
That's so disappointing. We were hoping that something was going there.
but
You
there's
agree?
already some good inquiries.
Disappointing that there's nothing going in its place. However, I wonder if, because seemingly someone else is going to pay to destruct the site and leave it level, or, I mean,
The current owners are gonna do it.
right. So then I hope whoever looks to buy it next, hopefully that makes it more attractive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think they demo in order to have better saleability. Okay, then, no new update on the housing production plan yet from EOHLC. They were still reviewing at the time, but I haven't gotten any feedback. It's in the Affordable Trust Fund arena, So I'm just trying to keep an eye on it for when it comes through. And Debbie, I failed to mention back in August that you did provide a really nice letter for the value of the Community Preservation Act at Southborough. You had been, you volunteered to draft that letter and submit it, and it was submitted, so I never mentioned that.
And they backed down. Thank you very much.
And that's it.
I make a motion to approve the September 8th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Bellniak, yes.
I make a motion to approve the September 15th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
With discussion? Um, Oh, line 177, it says Miss Quinn said she would do that. But Ms. Quinn said it had been done. Oh, and in line 193, it says documents used none. I'm pretty sure the Atlantic bylaw was, but it was discussed at the meeting. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Bellniak, abstain.
Next meeting, October 20th, and I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes.
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Bellniak, yes.
Yay, and I just have that document to. Yep, that's it. It's short. I have a pen. No.